Two white cops slammed an 18-year-old black girl to the pavement during a FaceTime call. No warning, no reason. Now she's in a coma, and her mother stands silent at her bedside. But she's not just a grieving mom. She's a former federal investigator, and she just activated something called Protocol 7. Nina Wallace stood outside ICU Room 9, her hands clenched so tightly her knuckles had gone white. Behind the glass, her daughter, 18-year-old Amara Wallace, lay unconscious, tubes and wires keeping her alive. A nurse approached, hesitant, eyes full of fear. "They said it was mistaken identity," she whispered. "The officers, they thought she was someone else." Nina didn't blink. "Which officers?" "Two white males, late 30s. They said she got mouthy. The security footage shows otherwise." Nina nodded once, her voice calm, controlled. Then they just made the biggest mistake of their lives. What the officers didn't know, what they never thought to ask, was who Amara's mother really was. Dr. Nina Wallace had spent 15 years as a federal investigator before becoming a high-profile civil rights attorney. And when they touched her daughter, they didn't start a case. They started a war. In her car, Nina opened her encrypted briefcase and pulled out a secure device. "Activate Protocol 7, she told the voice on the other end. "Pull every body cam, dispatch recording, and city traffic cam between 5:35 and 6:10 p.m. Zone 4, Sector 9. Within hours, Nina sat in front of 6 monitors in her home war room. One screen showed her daughter being tackled during a FaceTime call. Another showed the cops laughing afterward. She leaned closer. "Pause. Zoom in." One of them, badge number 60417, wiped blood from his knuckles. The other muttered, "This one's gonna need spinning." Nina uploaded the raw footage to a secure whistleblower channel. It was viral within minutes. News anchor: "This is the body cam footage leaked this evening, showing 2 officers brutalizing an unarmed black teenager outside a library. The girl is now in a coma. Public outrage is growing." By morning, a crowd had gathered outside the station. Protesters held signs. Reporters screamed questions. And then Nina arrived. She walked straight through the front doors in a fitted blazer, a federal case file in one hand, a USB drive in the other. "I'm invoking Title 42, Section 1983, Civil Rights Violations under color of law. You're no longer under internal review. You're under federal investigation." The chief stepped out of his office, red-faced. "You can't barge in like this." Nina raised a document. Search warrant signed by Judge Lewis. She dropped the USB drive on the conference table. Inside is body cam footage, dispatch logs, prior complaints, and sworn witness accounts. You've protected predators. Now you'll be the one answering questions. The 2 officers who had put Amara in the ICU were escorted out in cuffs, their badges removed in front of their colleagues and news crews. Nina said nothing as flashbulbs popped. She just watched them the way they'd watched her daughter, without empathy. That evening, Nina returned to the ICU. She sat beside Amara's bed and gently held her hand. The monitors beeped quietly. Then, barely there, Amara's fingers twitched. Tears filled Nina's eyes, but her voice remained steady. "You're safe now, baby. Mama took care of it." 3 days later, Nina testified at a civil rights oversight hearing in D.C. "My daughter was beaten not because she posed a threat, but because she was black, alone, and in public. Until this country stops confusing skin tone with danger, no black child is safe." The courtroom sat in silence. Back at the hospital, Amara opened her eyes for the first time. Because her mother hadn't just brought her back from the brink, she'd exposed an entire system for what it truly was. Justice didn't knock that day. It kicked the door in. If this story stirred something in you, don't scroll past. Like, share, and comment below. Type "Justice must be served" if you believe no child should suffer for looking different.